Hey, good afternoon, guys. So I'm going to show you how to create a graph in Python using the Matplotlib library. So in the first statement over here, we are going to be importing the plot and the show function from the Pylab module, which is part of the Matplotlib library. And so in order for us to create a graph, the first thing we're going to need is basically values for the X and the Y axis. So I'm going to choose really simple values over here. And we're going to do 2, 4, and 6. Okay, so the X number variable is going to represent the horizontal axis, and the Y number is going to represent the vertical axis. And so the next thing we need to do is we need to use the plot function, which is going to take, in this case, we're going to take two arguments. The first one is going to be the horizontal, so we're going to take the X numbers, and the second one is going to be the vertical axis, which we're going to take Y numbers. All right, so we basically have the values, we plotted them on the graph, and the last thing we need to do in order to display the actual graph, we need to use the show function. So right over here, we're already using both our functions, the plot and the show. And so if I run this program, you're going to see here that we actually got the graph. So it was much simpler than probably you would think. And over here, the x-axis is from 1 to 3, which is consistent with what we have here with the values we have in the X numbers list. And then for the Y numbers 2 to 6, we start at 2 and we end at 6. So far, so good. However, there is something that's a little bit confusing about this. We actually don't know where our values lie. We do know that they're connected here, but we don't know exactly where they lie. So in order for us to figure that out, we can actually use a third argument. And this argument is markers equals, and then we're going to put a string value. So if I put O as in Oscar and I run it, you're going to see that it's going to create a dot to indicate exactly where those values are. And there's other values we can use. Say I put capital D, which is going to create sort of a diamond shape. You can see here, I can replace this with a plus sign, and we can run it again. And it'll also change it again. So I do want to just show you very quickly, so that on your own, if you wanted to, you can look this up and you can figure out which one you prefer. We have the documentation here for the markers. So we have the markers here, which is basically the string symbol we're going to use. And this symbol column is going to show you what's actually going to populate on the graph. So this can be, useful for preferences, whatever you want to do. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's just take as an example the X. So if I use capital X and lowercase x, they actually have different depiction symbols. So let's go ahead and try one of those out. Let's try the capital X. And you'll see it right over here. It's a little tricky to see because you have this line going through, but we can actually get rid of that line that connects the 3 points by removing marker equals and just leaving the string of X. So this is another way we can kind of manipulate our graph. And so let's go back to O, and you can see here, in some cases, this might be preferred to you. So you can kind of play around with that to see what you like.